The mistake I made at the beginning was not hiring the best talent. I mean, they were great people, but I'm saying not hiring great leaders, right? When I work with companies, I always want them to hire other leaders because usually the CEO and in law firms would be the partners are like the vision for the whole firm. And as you're growing, you need other people with vision. And sometimes people with vision don't like to manage other people. Okay, this is super common. The visionaries don't like to manage. They don't want to be the accountability. They don't want to walk around handling the accountability portion. So it's good to hire in folks that are great at accountability and holding others accountable and creating systems.
So Luke, let's stay here for a second because this is gold. Because so many people don't do this, right? Like I go out there and I'm like, oh, I need an office administrator. So I'm going to go and find somebody who's really good at, filing stuff and keeping things organized. Or I need an attorney. So I'm going to go out and just going to hire somebody who's really good at what they do, from the attorney perspective. How does somebody go about identifying somebody who's a leader and somebody who's going to be able to step into that role? When you finally figured this out, what was your secret like to identifying people in this process? Are you calling it out in your job posting? Is it just questions you're asking in the interview process? Or you're not even hiring that way and you're just kind of like, hey, I saw this person at Starbucks and I was really impressed with what they did. So bring them in.
Okay, so I'll go in about 3 different subjects here because this is actually really important. It's a good question, Moshe. But what it is first of all, we have to realize, okay, in this neighborhood of law firms, I'll just equate it to sports, okay? Many people like sports, okay? But why are the best teams the best teams? They'll have good coaches, but typically they have the best talent. All the good companies know this. All the good law firms know this. So they have ways of attracting the absolute best talent. And then the rest of us are trying to compete. We're sort of like an NCAA college team trying to compete with the NBA. It doesn't matter. And then we'll typically compete by having cheaper prices or maybe a little bit of a different strategy to try to outflank the big firms, but they've got the talent. So first thing is recognize that. It's a mindset. You actually have to go for the best talent, not be most efficient, meaning not try to get the best attorney for the lowest price, right? You actually have to go find and be okay to pay for the best talent. And to do that, your rates need to be able to be sustainable at your business. So a lot of companies aren't even sustainable on margins. Their CEOs working 80 hours a week. They don't actually have a real business. It's like a job. If the CEO, the shareholder walked away and hired people and had to hire for what he or she was doing, all of a sudden the company would barely have any margin. That's because they're not actually making profit. Maybe they're not charging enough. Their expenses are out of line. So I hope this isn't a tangent, but it's a very important mindset, okay? You're competing with the NBA, and if your college team's never going to win that game. So first thing is talent. The next thing is, there's a lot of things, making sure it's a great place to work and all that stuff. So now you have to attract people. That's the next thing. So how can you attract the best people? For us, we said, okay, there's all these perks that the big companies give, free this, free that. We couldn't do that. What we could do is we could be a best place to work and win these awards. So that was a process that took us a couple of years, and we won these awards, and now we're recognized in the community as the best place to work, and people wanted to work for us for, maybe they wouldn't get those perks, but I would pay as much or more, and they would have way more freedom they would have at a big company. And give it an idea, our company was, as it grew, 50 people in-house, 60 people in-house. That's about the size. And then we had a bunch of people in Mexico and other countries as well. So maybe 100 total. So, and then the final thing to be more direct about hiring is make sure the person has already done what you're hiring for. Okay, that's a key one. Too many people stretch and say, oh, this person's great. I think they can reach and do this task or this job. The easiest thing is just hire someone who's already done it. You're going to pay more, but you're far more likely to find someone who's going to succeed in that role.